So yesterday we last class we started the fifth unit, that is project monitoring and control. So we already discussed about monitoring and control. So monitoring and control will help to ensure projects stay on target. It can also help to get projects back on target. Okay, that has gone off the target. Okay, those who are gone off the target, we have to back them to complete the target. Okay, so monitoring is the regular observation and recording of activities taking place in a project or program. So it is a process of routinely gathering information on all aspects of the projects. Okay, so here we already discussed about why do we monitor and what do we monitor and when do we monitor and how do we monitor. All we discussed in last class. Next, move to the creating a framework. For this, it consists in projects control life cycle. So this is the project control life cycle. We discussed in the yesterday class. And project structure. This is the project structure. This is the project reporting structure. Okay. Then we discussed about yesterday only responsibilities and responsibilities only. Then we have to discuss our this topic, that is accessing progress and setting checkpoints and taking snapshots. Now we have to discuss today these topics, that is accessing progress, setting checkpoints and taking snapshots. So we have to start topic is accessing progress. So progress, only 43 members are joined. I'm waiting for other students to join. Only 46 PM. Any problem joining? Only 46 students are joined till now. If any problem, please write a message in chat box. So accessing progress. So here progress assessment will normally be made on the basis of information collected and collated at regular intervals or when a specific event occurs. Okay. Whenever possible, this information will be objective and tangible, whether or not a particular report has been delivered or not. For example, okay. So, for example, end of activity deliverables might not occur sufficiently frequently throughout the life of the project. So end of active deliverables might short or throughout the life of the project. So here progress assessment will have to rely on the judgment of the team members who are carrying out the project activities. So here the responsibility will taken by the team members. Okay. So the progress meeting are a common way of motivating staff to meet the short-term targets. Okay, then we move to the setting checkpoints. So it is essential to set a series of checkpoints in the initial activity plan. So checkpoints may be regular, that is monthly. For example, that is monthly how to conduct checkpoints. Before checkpoints may be the regular, that is monthly, example monthly, and the next one is tied to specific events such as the product of a report or other deliverables. So here one is regular, another one is tied to specific events. Tied to specific events such as production of a report and other deliverables. So it is essential to set a series of checkpoints in the initial activity plan. Checkpoints may be uh, tied to specific events such as production of a report or other deliverables. Next we move to the next last one, that is taking snapshots. So this taking snapshot, for this we have to review points or control points, that is snapshots, or access progress daily. So for this, see here, the frequency with which a manager needs to receive information about progress will depend upon the size and degree of risk of the project, or that part of the project under their control. So team leaders, for example, need to access progress daily, whereas project manager may find weekly or monthly reporting appropriate. In general, the higher level, the less frequent and the less detailed the reporting needs to be. Okay. So there are strong arguments in favor of formal weekly collections of information from staff carrying out activities. So collecting data at the end of each week ensure that information is provided while memories are still relatively fresh and provide a mechanism for individuals to review and reflect upon their progress during the past few years. So this is about taking snapshots. Clear? Mainly snapshot means review points or control points and access progress daily. Okay. Next one. Next topic is collecting the data. So here collecting data as a rule that managers will try to break down the long activities into more controllable tasks of 1 or 2 weeks duration. So, however, it will still be necessary to gather information about partially completed activities. This is partially, this includes the, so it will be necessary or gather information about partially completion activities and in particular forecast of how much work is left to be completed. So it can be difficult to make such forecast accordingly. For example, it can be difficult to make such forecast accurately. Okay. So, when there is a series of products, partial completion of activities is easier to estimate. Counting the number of record specifications or screen layouts produced, for example, can provide a reasonable measure of progress. In some cases, intermediate products can be used in an activity milestones. The first successful compilation of a program, for example, might be considered a milestone even though it is not final product of the activity code and test. Okay. So first one we come to the partial completion reporting. So here partial completing reporting, many organizations use standards accounting system with weekly time sheets to charge staff time individually. Okay, here accounting system with weekly time sheet. This is a time sheet to charge staff time to individual job. So the staff time booked to a project indicates the work carried out and the charges to be and charges to the project. Okay, once the staff time booked on a project, so once the sheet that staff time booked on a project indicates the work carried out and the charges to the uh, project. Okay, so it does not, however, tell the project manager what has been produced or whether tasks are on schedule. So it is therefore common to adapt or enhance existing accounting data collection system to meet the needs of the project control. So this diagram shows a typical example of such a report form. In this case, requesting information about likely slippage of completion dates as well as estimates of completeness. So asking for estimated complete time can be criticized on the grounds that frequent invitation to reconsider completion dates deflects attention away from the importance of the original schedule targets and can generate an ethos that it is acceptable for completion dates to slip. So here this is the timesheet for partial completion reporting. So in this staff name is there, working date and rechargeable hours for project 21 activity code is the description. How many hours you work and percentage in completion, scheduled completion. All these are included in this timesheet. And the total rechargeable hours also right here. And non-rechargeable hours here 8 hours but authorized by R8. These are called as non-rechargeable hours. Okay. This is the partial completion reporting. So next you move to the risk reporting. The next one is risk reporting. So partial reporting, we have a timesheet, and in this we have two fields there: rechargeable hours and non-rechargeable hours. So by using the timesheet, we have to give the partial completing reporting. Okay. Then move to next one, risk reporting. So see here, risk reporting. So once popular way of overcoming the objects to partial completion reporting is to avoid asking for estimate completion dates, but to ask instead for the team members estimates the likelihood of meeting the planned target date. So one way of doing this is traffic light method. This consists of the following steps. So that is step 1. So here step 1 is the identify the first level, that is higher level key elements to access the work. So step 1 is to identify the higher level key elements to access the work. Next step 2 is break down the first level or higher level elements to second level elements. Okay. Then step 3, judge each of the second level elements progress in 3 scales. Okay, we have to categorize into 3 scales by the second level elements. In first level, we have to choose the first level or high level. Then we have to break down the higher level that we do in step 2, that is called as second level. Then we have to judge the second level elements, like that is we have to represent the second level like 1 minute. So we have to divide this into in this way. So first G, we have to divide the progress in 3 scales as G is green, A is amber, R is red. We have to divide this into 3 categories, that is G is green, A is amber, okay, meet kuda, and R is red. So see here, we are using here, we have to elements progress in 3 scales. One is green, another one is amber, and the third one is red. Okay, so green means as per target. If the we represent in G letter, that means as per the target. And we have to represent in A means not as per target but can be brought back to control. So it is not as per target but we can back to control. Red. Red means not as per target and cannot be brought back to control without involving additional cost or resources or time. That is red. We have to second element progress in 3 scales, that is green, amber, red. Green is as per target and amber is not as per target but can be brought back to control. Red is not as per target but cannot be brought back to control. So then move to the step 4. Based on the second level assessment, judge the first level on the same 3 points, that is green, amber, red. Next step 5. Review all the first level assessments to decide on the overall assessments of the project. So fifth one is review all the first level assessments to decide on the overall assessments of the project. Okay. So here see the diagram here. So this is the risk reporting. So risk reporting name and date, project name, project risk level, and reference number. So see the diagram here. First level activity risk, when there is a G is there as a target, as per target. This is not at per target. but you can back to control. This is also not an, but you can back to control. So this is the risk reporting chart. GAR we already discussed about. So by using this chart, we have to represent the risk reporting, because you must remember what is green and what is amber and what is red. Okay. So far clear? Okay. Next we move to the next one, that is visualizing progress. So visualizing progress. So having collected data about a project progress, a manager needs some way of presenting the data to a greatest effect. So after project progress, so uh, uh, manager could presenting the data to the greatest effect. So we look at some methods of presenting the picture of the project and its future. So that visualizing progress, some of the methods that visualizing progress of some of the methods are Gantt chart, slip chart, ball chart, and timeline. So these are how the project has progressed and changed through time. By using these visualization progress, how the project has progressed and changed through time. Progressed and changed through time. Okay, clear. So what is Gantt chart? So moving to the Gantt chart, see here. Uh, so Gantt chart during the coming to the first one in visualizing progress, that is Gantt chart. During the era of scientific management, a Gantt chart is a horizontal bar chart developed as a production control tool in 1917 by Henry L. Gantt. So an American engineer and social scientist. Okay, so it was invented by Henry L. Gantt. So the name indicate the name here is given as his name, that is Gantt. Okay. So he is an American engineer and social scientist. A Gantt chart provides a graphical illustration of a schedule that helps to plan, coordinate, and track specific tasks in a project. So see here, the horizontal axis of the Gantt chart is a time scale expressed either in absolute time or in relative time, reference to the beginning of the project. The resolutions depend on the project. So the resolutions are always depending upon the project. So a chart in which a series of horizontal lines shows the amount of work done in certain periods of time in relation to the amount planned for those periods. Okay, so actually Gantt chart is a type of bar chart in which a series of horizontal lines, shows the amount of work done or production completed in certain period of time in relation to the amount planned for those period. Okay. So actually, what is the purpose of Gantt chart? So to illustrate the relationship between the project activities and time, to show the multiple project activities on one chart, and to provide a simple and easy to understand representation of the project scheduling. So All these can do by using the Gantt chart. That is to the relationship between the project activities and the time that will be represented in Gantt chart. That is the purpose of Gantt chart, and to show the multiple project activities as an one chart. That is also the purpose of the Gantt chart, and to provide a single and easy to understand representation of project scheduling. That is also a purpose of the Gantt chart. So, how to create Gantt charts? So a Gantt chart is a matrix consisting of horizontal line axis, vertical axis, graph area. So horizontal axis, vertical axis, and graph area. Okay. So see here in this the Gantt chart is constructed with a horizontal axis. This is horizontal axis representing the total span of the project. Okay, total span of the project broken down into increments. That is days, or weeks, or months. So here weeks, you have to divide the project into weeks. So that is horizontal line. This is the starting point and this is the ending point. Now it's is in this level in week 17. Then we have the vertical axis. These are the vertical axis. So the Gantt chart is constructed with a vertical axis representing the tasks that make up the project. So what are the tasks that make up the project? We have to represent in vertical lines. And this is the graph area. So the graph chart is concerned with a graph area which contains horizontal bars for each task connecting the period, considering the period start and period ending symbol. So here graph area which contains horizontal bars for each task connecting the period start, here the project start and here the project end. So how to so see here uh, so one of the simplest and oldest technique for tracking project progress in the Gantt chart. Okay, so this is essentially an activity bar chart indicating scheduled activity dates and duration, frequently augmented with activity floors. So reported progress is recorded on the chart, and today cursor here today cursor provides an immediate visualization of which activities are ahead or behind schedule. Here this is the project module. Here this is activity A, activity B. So activity A after the today bar, and activity B before the today bar, and activity C before, and activity D after. Okay, and activity among us. Okay, so this is the flowchart. So this is the graph which shows our activities are ahead or behind schedule. See here, this is the Yamanda's Gantt chart at the end of the days. That is end of the week 17. See here, code and test module has been completed and a head of schedule, and code and test module A appears also to be a head of schedule. Okay, see here, code and test module A here has been completed ahead of schedules. Here we completed at the head of the schedule before. This is the schedule time. It will complete it before the schedule. Okay, and code and test module appears also to be head of the schedule. It also appears, appears at head of the schedule also. Okay, so how we create chart, Gantt chart. So first one, Determine the project steps to create a Gantt chart. First step, determine the project start date and deadline. So you have to determine the project start date and deadline. Here in this example, my deadline is 19. Okay. And gather all information surrounding the list of activities within a project. So you have to gather all the information, the list of activities within the project. Then determine how long each activities will take. You have to determine how long each activities will take. Then evaluate what activities are dependent on others. So you have to evaluate what activities are depending on others. Okay. Then last step is create a graph cell including the timeline and list of activities. So you have to create a graph cell that includes timeline and list of activities. Okay. So what are the advantages of Gantt chart? These are about the visualizing process. First one is Gantt chart. So what are the advantages of Gantt chart? So it helps in planning and monitoring the work of the project. So by using the Gantt chart, by seeing the Gantt chart, you have to identify planning and monitoring of the work of the project. And time is explicitly expressed in Gantt in the chart. So another advantage is time is explicitly expressed in the chart. Next advantage, all tasks are visible at a glance in relation to others. So in Gantt chart, all tasks are visible. And the last advantage is deadlines are depicted in the chart. So here deadlines are depicted in the chart. And another advantage are a useful tool for displaying time based information within a project. This is another advantage. And also it is very simple to create. And the Gantt chart provide a useful overview of the project activities, a good starting point for each project planning. And the charts are widely used and understood. That is another advantage. And another advantage, there exist several pieces software packages that allow you to build Gantt charts. So that is about Gantt chart. Okay. Okay, clear? This is about Gantt chart. Then we move to the next topic is slip chart. So the Ciplat is very similar alternative favored by some project manager who believe it provides a more striking visual indicators of those activities that are not proximing to schedule. The more streamlined bands, the greater variation from the plan. So additional ziplines are added at intervals, and as they build up, the project manager will gain an idea as to whether the project is improving. Idea as whether the project is improving or not. So a very jagged stripline indicates a need for rescheduling. Okay. See here, this is the slip line. So, so the more the slip line bends, the greater the variation of the plan. So here, not that much of the line bend. Okay. So add this is slip line chart means add slip line on the Gantt chart. So we have to add the slip line on the Gantt chart. So this is the Gantt chart. We have to add the same slip line on the Gantt chart. Okay. So the slip line indicates those activities that are either ahead or behind the schedule. So these different indicate the either ahead or behind the schedule. So too much bending indicate a need for rescheduling of the overall plan. If the bend is more, then we have to reschedule the activity. So this is about slip chart. Then another one is ball charts. So here, see, this is the picture representation of the ball chart. Okay. So a somewhat more striking way of showing whether or not targets have been met is to use a ball chart. Okay. So see the diagram here. So in this version of a ball chart, the circle indicates start and completion points for activities. The circles initially contain the original schedule dates here, start time and the schedule date. Whenever revisions are produced, these are added as a second date of the inappropriate circles until an activity is usually started or completed when the relevant dates replace the revised estimation. So after this one, we have to start again. We have to represent in this color, black color. So see here, this is the code A, start and code A, and here. So circles will therefore contain only two dates, the original and the most recent target dates are the original date and the actual dates. Okay, the circle represents only the actual date or the original dates. Okay, so whether actual start or finish date for any activity is later than the target date, the circle is colored in red or black or dark gray. Okay, so here see here in this when the actual start or finish date for an activity is later than the target date, the circle is colored red, and when actual date is on time or earlier than the target date, then the circle is represented in green or light gray. Here two cards is one is red and another one is light green. So when we give red color means the activity is later than the target date, then we give the red color. Then uh, the target when the actual date is on time and or earlier than the target date, we have to represent in green. So before the target date we have to represent the green, after the target we have to represent red. So such charts are frequently placed in prominent positions, and the color coded balls provide a constant reminder to the project team. By seeing that color circle here represent what is, you have to identify what problem it is. Okay, so when more than one team is working in closely proximity, such a high visible records of achievement can encourage competitiveness between teams. So another advantage of ball charts over Gantt chart and strip charts is that they are relatively easy to keep to up to date. So they are relatively easy to keep up to date, and only the dates and possible colors needed to be changed. So here only in this ball chart we have to change the dates and the possible colors need to be changed, whereas the other need to be read or the each target dates are revised. So as compared to the slip chart and Gantt chart, in ball chart we have to change only the date and colors. Here we have to read the horizontal lines. Okay, so that is about ball chart. So for clear, next one, that is last one, that is we call, that is the timeline. So uh, timeline So, one disadvantage of charts described so far is that they do not show clearly the slippage of the project completion date through the life of the project. So, knowing the showing the correct state of the project helps in revising plans to bring it back on target. But analyzing and understanding trends helps to avoid slippage in future projects. So the time the time chart is a method of recording and displaying the way in which targets have changed throughout the duration of the project. So see here, it is a this is shows a timeline chart of Brigty project at the end of the sixth week. The plan time is plotted along horizontal axis, okay, and elapsed time down the vertical axis. So the line meandering down the chart represents the schedule activity completion dates at the start of the project. Analyzes existing system is scheduled to complete at the Tuesday of week 3. So obtain user requirements on Thursday of week 5. See here, obtain the user requirements of week 5. Issue tenders the final activity by Tuesday of ninth week. Here issue tenders by ninth week, and if any address is there, we have to add and here and so on. Okay. So actually, this chart was given by Brigetti timeline chart. So a plot of the elapsed time against the planned time of the activities indicating the actual progress of the activities and the rescheduled activities by the end of each week. So these are the rescheduling activities by the end of each week. So where and when targets have changed through the life of a project. So can show the slippage of activities through the life of the project. The Gantt chart cannot. So it helps to analyze and understand the trends and reason for changes. So it is to help to avoid slippage in future projects. Okay, it helps to slippage in future projects. So at the end of the first week, the Brigetti review these target dates and leave them as they are. Lines are for drawn vertically downwards from the target dates to the end of the week, one on the actual time axis. Okay. So at the end of week 2, Brittany decide obtain user requirements will not complete uh, until Tuesday of week 6. She therefore extended that activity line diagonally to reflect this. So the other activity completion targets are also delayed correspondingly. So here at the end of week 2, Whitney review these targets, dates and leaves them as they are. The lines are therefore drawn vertically downwards and from the target date to the end of the week 1 on the actual time axis. So at the end of week 2, see here the end of week 2, Whitney decided that obtain the user requirements will not be completed until the Tuesday of week 6. So she therefore extends the activity line diagonally. Here this is the extends the diagonal to reflect this. So the other activity completion targets are also delayed correspondingly. Because of this, the remaining also delayed. So by the here by the Tuesday of week 3, so the by the week of 3 analyze existing system is completed, and Brittany puts a blob here on the diagonal timeline to indicate that this has happened. At the end of week 3, she decides to keep to the existing targets. Okay. Then we have to move at the end of week 4. She adds another 3 days to draft tender and issue tender. So the timeline chart is useful both during the execution of a project and as a part of the project implementation review. So analysis of timeline chart and the reasons for the changes can indicate failures in the estimation process or other errors that might with that knowledge be avoided in future. So this is about the timeline. So is there a work is not completed, it will extend the diagonal chart. Extends the activities in the diagonal chart. So this is about visualizing progress. So does everybody understand about all these charts, or anybody has any doubt regarding Gantt chart or slip chart or ball charts or timeline? Anybody has any doubt? Write a message in chat box. Okay. So tomorrow we will discuss. Tomorrow we will discussing. After this, we have to move to the next one is cost monitoring, and another topic is it is very important, that is earned value analysis. So tomorrow we will discuss these two topics. Okay. So anybody has any doubt?